All right, all right, all right. Good morning, good morning. How's everybody doing today? It's nice to see you all. How come this thing went and did that on me? Ooh, how about this one? Yeah, that's a little better. All right, guys, how's things going? It's good to see we got a good little crowd waiting here to get in and see what's going on today. We got a lot of fun things to talk about today. We're going to go in and do a little day trading. I thought it'd be fun to go and hang out with Bubbles today and see what's going on with Bubbles. And of course, when you're going to day trade in the stock market, you need to have some kind of a scanner that lets you know what's popping and what's hopping. And so we're going to do that today and go over and look at Bubbles. Bubbles is our scanner that we like to look at. And we're going to, after we have a chance to do a little day trading, we'll see how the markets are moving today, see if there's any opportunities. We'll go review some of our trades that are in our portfolio. And then maybe we'll even jump over and look at our UBI, our Universal Basic Income portfolio, before we call it a day. So that's what we got planned for the class. And let's go say hi to a few people. First thing I want to say is just we got a couple people already saying hello. We got John out there. It's nice to see you, John. Chad, great to always see you there. Chad saying, John, you are going to class tonight. Oh, you guys have class at the university, don't you? And got Randy. Randy's here. It's nice to see you, Randy. And you guys are pretty active out here. AMD did a huge jump. It did, and I bought a bunch of it last week. So that's a good thing. Good thing for me. I bought a little bit, and it jumped hard. So it jumped because I bought it, Chad. Just so you know, I'm so famous that all I have to do is just buy a little, and everybody wants to do what I do. So it's got to be because of me, for sure. All right, Albert's throwing his hat in the ring. It's nice to see Albert. And all right, let's go look at this the bubbles and see what are bubbling up. All right, so Bubbles is a little website out here on a website called FinViz. This website is free. You don't have to pay for it. Now, it does pop ads. And so if you do pay for it, the ads go away. Now, I don't have any association with these guys. So if you subscribe to them, I don't get anything. I don't have anything to do with them. So it's just a little site that I like. And so if you come in here, this is their home page, kind of ugly, but informational, and that's good. So you can see, but what I like to do is I like to come in here and click on this. See this right over here on the right-hand side is this little heat map. So you click on that and it brings the heat map full screen. But this isn't the heat map I like. I like this one. It's called Bubbles. And so up here in the top left-hand corner, you hit Bubbles, and we'll bring that full screen. And Bubbles then shows you all the bubbles, and that's why it's called Bubbles. All right, now when you come down here on the settings on the left-hand side, the only thing I like to change, I don't like market cap. All right, I like it to be on volume. So it tells me what's trading today, what's big. So big bubbles means lots of trading. So there's Chad, there's your AMD right there, popping hard. And look at Ford. Ford's way over here. Big bubble falling down. That means it's flushing like a toilet. If you hover over it, you get a little chart there, and you can see it's really tanking hard. What else is coming up? All the tech stuff. All right, Palantir's up. That's good for us. We like Palantir. We got some of that. SMCI. We don't have any of that. I don't have any super micro, but it's up hard for those of you who do. There's Dale. There's Hewlett Packard. Intel is up. We got NVIDIA, of course. It's up big. So there's lots of opportunities. MU. I like to see if we can. There's PayPal. PayPal's up big. Wow. Apple, $623 a share. I like shares that are not quite so expensive. Pfizer is pulling back after that big, massive run. I want to see if Pfizer is doing that. We should go see. Oh, so many things. Let's go look at AMD first. All right. So we're going to come over here, pull up our trading platform. This is track and trade, and I'm going to come down here and I'm going to go to new one, and we're going to go Bubbles. And we're going to go Bubbles. What is today? Today is October 7. All right. 2025. Okay, so let's come in here to Bubbles, and we're going to put in AMD. Start with AMD. And we'll come down here. Wow, look at that thing. Okay, so there's what it looks like. So right straight out of the gate. So what I like to do is I like to see what's going to happen at 5 o'clock in the morning. All right, that's kind of the Call to arms right there. Now we're going to turn on Heikin-Ashi because I like that. But you can see 5 o'clock in the morning, man, it took off like a rocket ship. So that was kind of your key that this was going to be a big day. But man, look at that thing. 708. What was that? I hate it when they do bars like that because you don't know what that was. That was probably that's probably an iceberg, some sort of thing behind the scenes stuff, crap going on. And if you were in the market, that would have at least taken out your stop. Sometimes it doesn't. I've had my stops in here. Now this was pre-market, so you couldn't have a stop. You just trading with limit orders. But I've had this situation happen where I was trading it and it went down and I had a stop in and it didn't hit my stop. And that bar didn't even appear until after I was done trading it and had gone out and come back into the chart. And then it had this big bar. And I'm like, what the heck happened? So sometimes I think maybe that's a bad data tick and it didn't really happen, or might have been an iceberg, or I don't know. Those are kind of anomalies. So as that thing comes along, we're kind of having a fallback. So 7:30 is when this market opened up. So right here it took off, and look at it pulling back really hard already. So how are you going to trade that, Lan? Well, we're going to watch it for a second because we want to wait for it to pull back and give us an opportunity to get back in long. We got to see if it's going to go long. You know, this is kind of odd, but it's pulling back a little farther than I would expect. Maybe 2 bars and then take off, bounce off of that VWAP, and then take off and go. And it didn't. It's flushing. It's failing. It's failing the ABC. So oftentimes what happens, we'll get a situation where a market does this. And so we'll watch for that too. Market takes off out of the gate, comes way back down, scares everybody out, shakes out what we call the weak sisters and shoestring salesmen, and then it takes off again. So we'll watch for that. So in the meantime, we're going to come over and look at bubbles, and we're going to see what else. Ooh, let's Ford. Man, Ford. Let's go look at Ford. Come on, Ford. There we go. All right, let's fix this. There we go. That's better. All right, let's go look at Ford. Because oftentimes when you get a big flush like that, go down here to a 2-minute chart. We've already got the big flush. Now look at 5 o'clock. Whoa, look at that. 5 o'clock. That told you that was going to be a tough one. And then right out of the gate, 7:30, it flushed. Sometimes, though, when you get a big, massive flush like that, the market will come down like this. Come down. And then the same things it's doing over on AMD, only to the opposite. And it'll come way up like that. Sometimes that's what you get. So we're going to watch this one too. We'll watch that. You want to watch the extremes because the markets that are trading at the extremes are the ones that have the most volatility. And when you're day trading, that's what you want is a little volatility. All right. So we'll watch and see if that happens for Ford. Let's go back and take a look quick here. It's slowing down. It's not breaking a new low right now yet. We can come down to a 1-minute chart and see what it's doing on a smaller time frame. That's a 2-minute chart. Oh, look what it's doing. It's getting excited down here. What was that? Just going up and stopping everybody out. Stopping everybody in. It's probably what that was. Trailing re-entries. Okay, we got the blue lights underneath. That's an area of support. It's a 1-minute chart. Sometimes I like to do the 2-minute chart just to try and smooth things out a little. Be a little early on it here. Do you think it's going to bounce and rise? That's the question. What pattern would we expect to come out of here? Let's try and have a little forethought. If we get a little wedge pattern like this, then what we might get is we'll get a couple of greens, got this funny green here. I think that was just to go up and hit all the stops. I think we get a couple of greens, maybe another couple of reds, and then we'll get the greens to go again. If you want to go on the first green to make a new high right there, that's an entry. You can do that, but we're not going to take a lot. So we'll come in here. Wait. Okay, we'll put a little in right there. Maybe. I hit the buy button, nothing happened. Could not place the AMD order. I wonder how come. Huh. Let's try again. Wonder why it's not letting me place an order. Oh, there it goes. Yeah, so we're a little behind the 8-ball on that one. If it pulls back down in here, I only went in with 25 shares, but that's $5,300. That's a $5,000 initial start right there. I don't want to play because I'm worried about this. I'm worried about ABC to the downside. A little bit more worried about that. So I didn't take heavy into it here. See, it's pulling back already. So that's the couple of the greens. Get a couple of reds. We'll go green again. So if it comes back down, we get a first candle to make another new high. We'll do it again. What the heck is going on with this one here? This is Grow Nation. Something we put in there. What the heck? Oh, we sold calls. Wait, that should be profitable. Why is it not profitable? Oh, it is. No, it's not. Grow Nation. That should be profitable. We sold these calls and the market's behind us. That's weird. Shows we're down $36,000. That's not true. That's not right. Don't trust that. Because this is, as long as it's below that market, we're making money. So that is something screwy. Unless, but the implied volatility would be in our favor. So I don't trust that. I don't believe those numbers. This is the demo account, so I don't know. This is profitable right now. That shouldn't be negative. Okay. Oh, see, we're flushing out. That's what I was worried about. First green candle turned red, so we didn't wait for it to turn. That's a 2-minute chart. Let's go to the 1-minute chart and see what we're doing here. Let's get rid of all these drawings. Look at it coming down. Breaks those blue lights. No reason to stay in there. It's going to come down to an ABC. Oh, just broke them. Crap. Take our $40 loss and cry. Of course, that's right where it'll bounce and turn around and go back up. That's what happens. It'll stab those blue lights, give it a spiky dakey do, and then turn around and go back up. Come down, stop everybody out that had their stops right there, just like us. If it goes green candle, break a new high, we'll do it again. We'll jump back in. There it goes. Yeah, we shouldn't have got out. Daggone it. I knew it was going to do that. Hold on. Hold your horses, Lane. Hold your horses. See if what that bar does. I'm worried about this. Why would it go down like that if it had such a massive call to arms on the 7 o'clock? That's crazy. We shouldn't be going down like this. We should be getting a stronger rally. Right, Chad? Come on, buddy. Come on. Not like trading the NASDAQ, is it? Over in the futures market, it's a lot slower. Yeah, it's still showing some weakness here. Come on. Shader, get off the pot. Let's go over and see what else Bubbles is doing. We got to have something else going here. Intel. PayPal. Palantir. Let's go look at PLTR. Check in on Ford while we're here. Ford's still flushing. Ford's still flushing. Okay. PLTR. Wow. Holy cow. Look at that thing. What was it? 5 o'clock. Look at that. That. Well, I don't. That means I don't trust it. Why did it take off at open and not at 5 o'clock? It's not on news. We can come and check the news. We go over and go to this. Go to here. PLTR. See what the news is. 9 a.m. today, 9 a.m. is trending stock Palantir. This why Jim Cramer thinks the stock market isn't loved. AI stocks face show me test. One reason I'm watching Palantir at 6:10 a.m. Solanus, revenue rivals Palantir. There's nothing good in here. It's all just a bunch of Palantir. Is Palantir a buy? This morning at 4:15 a.m. So Motley Fool. One reason I'm watching Palantir, Yahoo Finance, why Jim Cramer thinks stocks isn't loved. It's trending stock Palantir, a buy now is Zacks. Okay. Drive 1, counter trend. Drive 2, counter trend. Are we going to get a drive 3? Let's wait and see on that one. Are we going to get a flush like the others? It just went up. It's going to flush all the way down, just like Ford. Okay, AMD's not turning. Not there. Here. Make sure we got the latest and greatest news here. Impact 2. We don't need to know what's going on in all the countries. Come on. Clear. United States. Save. All right. Are we still on UTC 6? We haven't changed times yet, right? Fed Bostic is speaking at 8 o'clock. Fed Bowman is speaking at 8:05. Fed Marine is speaking at 8:30. Fed Kashakir is at 9:30. And Fed Marine speech. Holy cow, it's a Fed day if I ever saw one. But none of the big Fed Bowman Bostic. Crude oil stock exchange at 2:30, 2:05. Man, live. Is that what's going on there? Palantir. What's the other one we were looking at? We were looking at AMD. See if any good news came out on AMD. Today at 10:09. Look at the earlier ones. Oh, look at all the news on AMD. Holy cow. 4 up after 24% surge. We rarely do this, says Chagrin Analytics. Falling at record highs. NVIDIA stock rises after AMD hit. Why the chip maker could get a China boost soon. Well, it's definitely in the news. Today, Jeffries hold buy target price $300 upgrade. They got an upgrade today. AMD got an upgrade to $300. Let's go take a look at it. What's it trading at? $214. So they think it's going to go to $300. These guys are always wrong. These guys are always wrong. $300. That's where they say AMD is going. I don't think it's going to go straight up there, but some people thought it was. Broke above the previous high. This is the last high from Friday. Ford's starting to slow down here. The blue lights are about ready to curl in here, crossover. So we'll see. So that's the VWAP. It's coming down too. We'll watch that one. Back to AMD. Oh, we're getting a little green here. It's a little early. That blue light's way up there, but this is the 1 minute. Oh, this is a 2 minute chart. We're starting to get, it's playing right here. I don't like the way it's dancing. It's not, it's like it lost all its mojo. Where the heck did our volume go? Yeah, it's not the one I wanted. I want this one. Oh, look at the volume. Died on us. Add indicator window. And I want this to be chalk and money flow. I want to turn chalk and money flow off here. There's how I like it. Look at the volume. Oh, oof, oof. Okay, it's getting ready to turn again. Looks like it's getting ready to go again. All right. We'll put a couple bucks in there and see what it does. This time I'm going to play the. So this is a 1 minute chart. What's a 2 minute? Oh, so we might be a little early, but we're on the 1 minute chart. Is it going 2 minute? Let's see if it's going to go this time. This is the first green candle to make a new high on the 2 minute chart. 1 minute chart. It's dying on us. There's just no volume. Nobody's wanting to get into this thing again. Nobody wants to get into it at this rate, this high. Doesn't surprise me. I'm not going to take a big risk on this thing. It's either got to go immediately or just get right back out. I'm not going to play their ping pong ball game. That. Look at this piece of shit. I don't trust it again. All right. Let's find something else. It's more fun. Palantir. Palantir looks more fun. Okay, here we go. Palantir's in play. D. You're making me feel bad here, you stupid thing. I'm going to blame Chad. Chad, you gave us a bum steer. All right. Come on, Ford. Let's see a rebound. Where's our volume on this thing? I don't want that. I thought I turned that off. Volume by price bars. Okay, save. Now we should have that down here. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Zipper, I thought I had Heikenashe on. There we go. All right, we're going to look for a rebound on Ford. Doesn't mean it's going to get one. It's just pretty common. When a market flushes like that, it comes back up. Palantir. Oh. First green candle to make a new high. I wanted to see a couple reds in here. Breaking those. So that's the natural trend line. right here. There's the mathematical trend line, and then we'll have the horizontal coming across here. So that's the spider web. You can see the same spider web right here. Here, mathematical trend line, and then the horizontal trend line. Came in right there. It didn't bounce back. It came back here. Let's see if we can get a little bit of a red bar in here. I would like to see just a tiny one, and if it goes green again, we'll go again. If it just takes off and goes, we'll come and kind of feel like we missed the boat on it. Checking the high. We didn't start getting flat bottom green. Well, we got a flat bottom there, inside bar, flat bottom, flat bottom, flat bottom, flat bottom. Volume's decreasing. We got one little bar right there. And we got volumes falling back down again. It's rising on falling volume. Be careful on that. My worry is that we're going to get a little sideways channel in here. Let's go back over to bubbles. Lost my settings. Okay, Intel, NVIDIA, Palantir. Let's go look at Intel. Government just bought Intel, so those of you who read our article in Pit News Magazine about Intel know that we're not happy that the government bought them. What do you mean you're not happy? Why wouldn't you be happy that the government saved Intel? I had that big rant and rave with you guys once. You want to hear it again? Probably not. That's what China does. China buys into their companies, picks winners. Oh, China. Then we hate China. Oh, China goes in and helps out their businesses. They pick winners. They go give them money. Well, that's what we're doing. What makes us different from China then? You know, I was thinking this morning about this rant and rave. We had Mitt Romney, who, if you remember when he was running for president, this is when the car companies were having problems. And he's like, let them go. Let them go out of business. Let them die. And I was, you know, nobody wanted to see the car companies go out of business. This is the difference between Donald Trump and Mitt Romney. Look, we're getting a little rally here on Intel. We got 2 green bars. Let's add a little in this one. We'll see if we can. That's not very much money. How come? Okay, we got 100 shares on right now. Difference between Mitt Romney and Donald Trump. Let's talk about that for just a second. Car companies were going to go out of business. Jim. And he didn't want to save them, if you remember. And just wanted to let them go out of business. Now, you have to think about the 2 different backgrounds of those 2 businessmen, because both of them very successful businessmen. Donald Trump, significantly more successful than Mitt Romney. I mean, Mitt Romney's worth what? He's worth only, I think, 350 million. Not that that's a lot of money. Okay, I'm almost there, but not quite. 350 million for Mitt Romney. Well, it's like 6 billion for Donald Trump. So a bit of a difference in the success rate, but nonetheless, both very talented and smart businessmen. Mitt Romney's a lawyer, and he owned a company that what their job was to do, what they would do is they would buy distressed companies and run them out of business. That was his business model. That's what they did, right? We all know that. He'd buy distressed businesses, run them out of business, and sell them off for parts. How many of you saw that that TV show, or it's a movie, not a TV show, with Danny DeVito, where they were going to do that to a little company, right? And they all had those speeches, stuff. So anyway, they were going to tear the company apart and sell it for parts. That's what Mitt Romney wanted to do to General Motors. He wanted to let it fail and then tear it apart. He says it's worth more in its parts than it is as a whole. And he wanted to let it fail. Well, he lost the election, and Obama came in, gave him money, saved him. Okay, so GM didn't go out of business. But what did Obama do? He gave him money. Gave him a loan, gave him money, right? Gave all the car companies money and saved the car company industry. So Obama kind of put that little feather in his cap. Now, look at the difference between Trump's method. Trump comes in and says, we're going to lose our car industry. What does he do? He doesn't look at him and give him money. He goes in and he says, let's figure out what's causing the car company to go out of business. Unfair trade practices, right? Everybody's moving their businesses out of the country down to Mexico and over to China for manufacturing, and we can't compete. So rather than go and give GM money, give all the car companies money, he goes and solves the problem. Okay, we're going to put tariffs on. We're going to make it so that these car companies have a more competitive edge, and they get penalized if they take all of their, take all of the competition, and say you're going to get penalized if you leave the U.S. So he solved the problem rather than just throwing money at it. But then he turned around with Intel, and he threw money at him. So that, to me, a little frustrating. Now, what happened is you had Biden come in, and he wanted to bring the chip industry back to America, right? Which was admirable. We gave him credit for that. Got to give credit where credit's due. He had the right mind. He just too much corruption. So what they did is they created the CHIPS Act, right? And they went and we're not going to get anything out of this thing. It's not going to go. Not going to let me put a stop in either. We're going to move our stop up. So what did he do? He went and had the CHIPS Act, and he went and he had all this money, and he started giving it away. But of course, it all had strings tied to it. So if you take my money to bring the chip companies back, you have to give a lot of that money. You have to be a big donor to the U.S., to the Democrat Party. You guys all know how that turned out. Kind of like USAID. So the CHIPS Act was corrupt. And it was just giving them money. And they were taking the money, but they weren't doing anything with it. They were saying, oh, yeah, we'll come back to America. Give us the money. Give them the money. Yeah, okay, now you have to give us some back in a donation to the Democrat Party. So they would take some, and then they didn't do anything with it. None of the chips companies that took the money there was no holding your feet to the fire. So Trump came in and said, well, we haven't given away all the money in the CHIPS Act. So we still have some left. And we're not just going to give it to these chip companies without holding their feet to the fire and making them do something that, they have to do. They have to actually come back to America and start building things, or else they owe us the money back, right? Because he did that to Apple too. Because they gave Apple a whole bunch of money to come back, and Apple took the money and then didn't come back. So Trump's like, you can't do that. If I give you money to help you come back, or give you incentives and give you, you got to do what we say you're going to do, or else you're going to owe us money on it plus interest. So he's holding the feet to the fire. Trump's trying to solve the problem. Mitt Romney just wanted to kill the goose, laid the golden egg. That was the difference between Romney and Trump. But there was something to be said for that. And so when Trump gave Intel money, he bought shares, which is what China does, right? They own part of the companies. They own most of the companies. And so they're beholden to the government, Chinese government. Well, Intel's now pretty much beholden to the U.S. government, right? But Intel also didn't have to fix their problem. You give them money. And the problem with Intel is that they're used to be a great company. Now, what are they? They're like the federal government. They just bloat. They're just a big, fat, do-nothing company, right? Losing billions and billions of dollars, and all their competition is just beating the pants off of them. Move our stop up a little. So we only have 100 shares on Intel. It's only $37 stock. So anyway, the whole situation with that is that they didn't solve the problem. Trump didn't solve the problem by giving them money. He took the money that Biden had put out there, and rather than just giving it to them, he went and bought their shares. So now they're beholden to Trump, beholden to the, okay, we're coming up against a hard barrier here. Got to be careful. Move our stop up a little. So he's coming up against a hard, I mean, he gave him money, but he gave it to him through shares. He didn't just hand him money. So he has ownership. But the problem with that is that they didn't, in doing so, see, the first time he did it with the car companies, he solved the car companies' problems by helping them eliminate some of their unfair competitive advantage companies had against him. So they still have to be a company that's operating, because all the other companies that come to America are still going to beat their pants off if they don't. Well, just giving Intel money, look at that. That's a nice move. When are you going to put more money on, man? Well, first of all, if we don't get stopped out, we could put more money in if we'd get a little red bar. A couple red bars, and then we could put some more money in. But we went in small. Well, we went in with 100 shares. We went in small because we thought we might get a little downtrend. We don't, you don't ever know. So we thought we might get a little thing like this. We'll come back down. So we didn't. We're getting a little rally, which is good for us. But now we need an opportunity to get into the market a little heavier. We'll see. I wonder if we can just do this. Trail, price bars back, 1.1. That way I don't have to keep moving it myself. So I think that Intel should have had a little stress. That's all I'm saying. But I guess giving them some money, now they didn't fix their bloat, their fatness. They're living off their laurels. That's my only concern with Intel. They don't have to fix their problems. They got serious problems running their company. Intel, AMD's kicking their ass, for one thing. And what does Intel do? Oh, we're getting our ass handed to us. Well, why don't you fix it so that you're not getting your ass handed to you? You had the lead. You were the big daddy on the block. Now you're a big fat turd. Why don't you fix it so you're not a big fat turd anymore? We'll throw more money at it. We'll run to Uncle Trump and have him give us money. Well, that's not going to solve your problem. Your problem is that you're a big fat turd. But now they don't have to fix their problem. Why? Because they got $10 billion to go and remain a big fat turd. So what's that going to do? I don't know. I think it's going to not solve the problem. And the American people, as they say, well, that didn't help us much. $21. But it's a win. We won. We're winners. All right, let's go over and look at something else. So now the American people, as we say, are going to be stuck with a 10% ownership in a big fat turd. There's Palantir coming into a sideways channel, just like I said. How did you know it's going to go into a narrow sideways channel, Lamb? I didn't. I made a speculation, made a guess, because I've seen it a million times before. How many of you read Claire's article where she's like, it doesn't make any sense. There's no signal. There's no trigger. I just knew to do it. Why? Because I've seen it a million times. It's intuition. But intuition doesn't come to you from outside forces. It comes from experience. You can't have intuition in the stock market if you haven't got any experience in the stock market. That's how you get intuition. lots of butt time in the seat, right? We call it that when we fly airplanes. You go out and fly airplanes, and the more time in the seat you have, the more intuition you're going to have, and the better pilot you're going to be, right? You've run into a lot of situations, and you've seen a lot of things, so you know how to react to them without emotion. So trading like this, and you're like, well, you're just doing it in the demo account. This is how you get intuition. You spend hours and hours and hours, even if it's not with real money. Trading, spending time, learning, practicing, that's how you get your intuition. So when you go trade with real money, then you've got that intuition build up and you can have a little bit better trading opportunity. Well, what would make you get into the market here, Lan? Well, I would want to see it start to rally some more. I'd want to see a bigger move in the market. I would want to see it. I mean, this is the first green candles make a new high, but we're in a downtrend. We're still coming down. This is a little pullback. To me, this is kind of a little ABC pattern down, right? Lots of red bars, little few green bars, more red bars. But it could turn around. This could be a bottom. It could be a double little bottom here. Could go up. So I wouldn't want to get in until we get some long green bars, a couple of red bars, another green set, and then anticipate it's going to go up at that point. But here it's just bouncing back and forth sideways. There's no real, I mean, we got as many red bars down as we got green bars up. So we need to have a nice long streak of red bars or green bars, flat bottoms, give us a couple little red bars. And then the first green candle with a flat bottom, we can get in and take off again and see if the market won't go for us. But we're already coming around to, the afternoon, not the afternoon, but the first hour is over. So the first hour session is right here, and then this goes after hours. So Intel's flushing down. Good thing we got out. Took our profits. Our big win, $21. That's all it moved. Okay, we're not getting our rebound yet. Here's the blue lights. So it's not crossed the blue lights yet. Down here on a rebound, but it's starting to go sideways. Our Donchian channel's flattening out. We're getting a green bar. We could put some on right there. Intuition says we should put some on right here. We're coming in close to that blue light. It may bleed out a little bit more right in here, but it's only $11 a share. We're going to need a lot more money in there to make it worthwhile. But this is a small starter right here. We'll see what's going to happen. See if Ford's going to rebound for us a little bit. We expect to come back to the first run, maybe back to 38.2. Maybe. We'll see. I don't want to take a big risk. So we'll put our stop in here. If it breaks new lows, we'll just get back out. We got a small position. So we'll put 100 in here, just right underneath that, right there. And if it breaks down, we'll just get out. Of course, the breakdown, that's, comes down, stops you out, and then takes off, and that's when it goes. So, but that's the nature of the beast. We want it to immediately go in our favor and not turn around and go down. I'm not going to dollar cost average down forever on this thing because it's flushing out. Don't know if we're going to get that rebound. Be a counter trend rebound. We'll see what happens. So what do you guys think? What do you guys think about the government buying into Intel? I think it allows them to be lazy. So I'm not Mitt Romney. I don't want Intel to, let's let it die, kill it. AMD will take it out. AMD will be the new leader. I don't know. I want to keep both companies. We need competition. Those are the companies that run the chips in our laptops. We need that. You don't put AMD chips in your laptop. Not well, you do run the video cards, but they're not the CPUs. Intel makes the CPUs. AMD makes the CPUs for your laptops. In fact, in the new Tesla was putting Intel chips in all of their cars. Did you know that? But they switched. They now have AMD chips. This isn't looking good for our rally. We might get a little spiky dikey do down only to get a turnaround. We might get spiked out only to have it turn and take off. We'll see. It happens sometimes too. Not getting any increase in volume like I was hoping. Volume's still flushing out a little bit. Let's see what happens. Not taking a big risk here. So my concern is now they're making waves. They're talking about buying. It worked so well with Intel, and nobody freaked out. I mean, even Bernie Sanders, of course, that tells you something. He jumped right on board. Oh yeah, let's get the government to buy up all the companies. He's into that. If Bernie Sanders is into that, that's a little bit scary. Why would you really want to, when it comes to the government owning businesses, do you really want to be on the side of Bernie Sanders? I don't know. I don't think it's a good idea, personally. Oh, look, they fixed we're up $11,000 now. So they fixed our problem with the math on our bad deal over there, on our option. So now they're talking about buying Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, some of these other big military industrial complex companies, buying more shares into some of those companies so they can own them. Do you think that's a good idea? Trump's like, of course it's a good idea. I don't know if it's a good idea. I don't like that idea. I don't like that we're doing what China does, which is buy into companies and pick winners. I think companies should have to compete. It's not like they're not government companies already. I mean, Lockheed Martin, I bet you if you went and looked, we could look it up on Google, but it's going to be like 90% of everything they do is going to be federal government. They're already a federal government agency. They just don't have to abide by the federal government rules. So that's why they have skunk works and they have all these secret black projects and they do all this secret stuff because they got all the government money, but they don't have to do any of the disclosure and they don't have to report to Congress or anything, right? Because they're a private entity, but yet every penny they get is from the government. They're just a government entity that's not responsible to the people who give them the money, us, the American people. So what do you think about the government buying shares in Lockheed Martin and Raytheon and Northrop Grumman and some of these big defense contractors being like China, buying into companies, controlling companies? Well, we don't have voting stock. Okay. I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like it. I especially don't like it with Intel. It's not fair to AMD. How would you feel if you owned a business and suddenly the government came in and started giving money to your competitor? That's not fair. Yeah, but they're beating the pants off me. What? But welcome to capitalism, right? That's what makes people great. That's what makes companies great is if they have competition. If there's no competition, or one's got an unfair advantage for one reason or another, government's giving them all the money, then the other companies, that's not fair to them. China, they say, we don't care if it's fair. But in America, we're supposed to be fair. That's what makes us America, right? That's what makes us great. Fair, competition, capitalism. Seems like we're stepping down the road of socialism. I don't like it. It's not fair to AMD. Yeah, but AMD's beating us up. So? Solve the problem. I don't think you ought to drive them out of business like Mitt Romney might want to do and sell them off for parts. But let's find out why AMD can't compete. And the problem is, I don't think it's like the car industry where all of the people were running overseas. Now, granted, we got a lot of people running overseas. We just got stopped out with 100 shares. That sucks. Our other stop's way down here. Right there at the blue light. That's common. Do that sometimes. It goes and touches that blue light and then pulls back. How do I know? Seen it a million times. But what does that make you think, guys? Tell me in your in the comments. You think the government ought to be buying companies? There's Wolf. That market's taking off like a rocket, isn't it? Not seeing anything I want to do on a daily basis, on a intraday basis. The explosion happened this morning. You got the ABC pattern in here. You got the first rally. Boom, there's your opportunity to get in right there. And it took off again. There's your money. On the way down, same thing, little ABC pattern. Counter trend, boom, flushed like a toilet. Wow. Went down lower than, clear down to the lows of the day, morning session. That's not a pattern I want to trade to the long side. I don't like that. Coming down here. Palantir just going through its sideways channel, like we said. It's not doing anything. Intel doing the same thing. We lost our mojo here on Intel. Ford couldn't get any. No Viagra for Ford. Still haven't got stopped out yet, though. AMD. Come on, buddy. Well, it didn't flush like a toilet, like we were worried about. But it's getting the sideways trend going too. It's not a very exciting market today. We need to go over and start looking at some of our other portfolio stuff, don't we? All right, I think we're done with our day trading. We're not getting any action today. Exit chart. We had one winner and one loser. The loser law outperformed the winner. It's not letting me out. What's it trying to do? Come on. Why is it being so stupid? I do not know. Just there, it closed. Oh, it just exited everything. That's what I wanted. It was just slow on the uptake. Let's go look over real quick at our actual portfolio. All right, this is our real money portfolio. This is where we got all our money. So we'll go take a look at these real quick. So you guys think that the government ought to buy into these big companies? Think they ought to buy them like they did Intel? What do you think of them buying Intel? I don't need a 2-minute chart on this one. So AMD, AAY, AMDY. So this is the one I own right here. I bought a bunch of this one. Not as much as I would like to have had, but I own a bunch of this one. ARKK. I own a bunch of this one. And it's still going to the moon. I bought it on the breakout right in here. BD. I own a bunch of this one. This one pays good dividends. So we got the natural trend line, got the mathematical breaking trend line, we got the horizontal up here. So that's our spider web. Question is this thing going to go? This is more stupid Bitcoin and Ethereum combined. Gives good dividends though. Let's go look at it. BETE. Should we go look at it? BETE. We got to come over here and go to our portfolio matrix. BETE. So this one has a gain of 49% and a yield of 28 for a gain plus yield of 78.27. So it's getting most of its money from the gain. The yield is 28, but that gives it a gain plus yield. It's giving you a 78% return over the last year. That's pretty good. And you see it kind of wandered here. So this is almost zero. So it was mostly coming in from right in here. Let's go back 6 months. That's the 6 month move. So 6 month, the gain was 75%, the yield was 21%, and the gain plus yield was 97%. So that thing's returned 97% in the last 6 months. And you said you have some of that land? Yes, I do. I have some. Probably bought it right here when the market's going down. That's probably what I did. So let's go back over here. So I got some of that. It's good. It's rising, but I'm worried about this kind of a pattern right here. Bitto. Bitcoin. And I have a bunch of this too. I need it to rally because it's also the same thing that we've got over here with Coney. Coney's tied to Bitcoin. I got a bunch of that. And MSTR. Of course, that piece of shit. Don't call it a piece of shit, land. It's Bitcoin. It needs to go up. Bitcoin's just, look at this. It's just sitting here dying for the last, ever since you got into it. It's not doing nothing. Come on, Bitcoin. You were supposed to be the big, great thing to have. Piece of shit. Go up. That's MSTR. This is MSTY. This is our version. So they just keep giving your money back. But I'm making money on it. I mean, they give me more back than I put in, so I can't complain. But it'd sure be nice if Bitcoin would go up. We could get some of these types of events. Just going sideways. Okay, I guess. Better than going down. Better than going down. NVIDIA. You know, we were talking the other day about the intrinsic value, Chad, of currencies, of these stable coins, Bitcoin. We were talking about the intrinsic value. And I had an epiphany on this after we had talked. And I thought about it for a long time. And I thought, why don't I like these currencies? And it's because they have no intrinsic value. And then the argument is always, well, they do have intrinsic value. And they also have scarcity. And I'm like, okay, well, what is the intrinsic value? And we had this conversation, right? And remember, we were like, okay, well, the intrinsic value is the intrinsic value of a Bitcoin or of a currency is the electricity, the cost of creating the Bitcoin itself, right? Here's the problem with that. It's gone. You can't ever get it back. There is no, you can't do a Mitt Romney where you go and, okay, let's sell it for its parts and get all of our electricity back. No, you spent all the electricity to make the Bitcoin. There is no electricity in the Bitcoin, so you can't get the electricity back. There's nothing to get back. You burn the electricity to create a Bitcoin. But now the electricity is gone and you have this Bitcoin made from electricity that doesn't exist. Yes, but Lan, isn't that the same with other companies? Don't they burn energy to make things? Yes, but they actually make things. That's the difference. They make physical products, right? That's the intrinsic value of a business. They have intrinsic value that you can actually turn around and get back out. Like gold, for example, if you go out and have a mining company and you mine gold, well, now at the end of the day, you have the gold. Well, yes, Lan, but I mine the Bitcoin. I now have the Bitcoin. Yes, you have a bunch of burned up electricity. Well, isn't that all we have with gold? No. You have the gold. You have the silver. You have the car. You have the computer. You have the microchip. You burned the electricity, but now you have something that represents a physical item, an intrinsic value. You bought the real estate. You bought the house. You bought the car. You bought something. You bought a four-wheeler. Yes, it's a deteriorating asset in many cases, but it could also be that you're putting money into well, if I do that with my Bitcoin, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to burn the electricity. I'm going to take my Bitcoin. I'm going to then buy real estate for the business. I'm going to do, okay. But the Bitcoin itself doesn't have any intrinsic value, only the things you bought with it. Gold has intrinsic value because you do the mining, you burn the electricity, you burn the diesel fuel, you burn the gas, you buy all the equipment to get it out, but then you have it. You do the same thing with Bitcoin, but then you don't have anything. You burn up all the electricity, you create the infrastructure to build it, to get it, but then there's nothing there. But we pretend it's there. It's a digital asset that has no intrinsic value. It's completely 100% extrinsic value. All the value of Bitcoin is extrinsic. There is no intrinsic value in Bitcoin. No, there is. They'll argue this forever. There's lots of intrinsic value. It's scarce. Yeah, turn off all the computers in the world. How much Bitcoin do you have? Zero. None. It's digital. Well, we're not going to do that. Okay. Okay. We're not going to do that. But if you turned off all the computers, you had gold. You would have gold. You'd have microchips. Might not be any good because we turned off all the computers, right? But you'd have a stack of microchips over in the corner. You'd have cars, you'd have trucks, you'd have vehicles, you'd have buildings, you'd have construction. Well, we can have all that with Bitcoin too, the infrastructure that builds the Bitcoin. Yes, but the Bitcoin itself has no intrinsic value. I don't know. That's my argument. That's what I think about when I'm walking around the house cooking eggs. Does Bitcoin have intrinsic value? Tell me, what do you guys think? Do you think Bitcoin has intrinsic value? All right, let's come and look at some of these other stocks. So let's go look at my portfolio. You guys want to see my portfolio sometimes. Let's go take a look at it. All right, my portfolio. I broke $1 million. Again, can't say I broke $1 million. I broke $1 million a number of times, but then it goes back below $1 million, and now I broke $1 million again. But I've taken 125,000 out, so I'm actually can't really say. See, there I am. Current value 1.9 million. So we broke $1 million on the value, current value. That's after my what's this? When I did all of the rebalancing. So I did all the rebalancing, and then the market's been doing really well. So we broke $1 million again. I've taken 125,000 out, so that current value at 125,000, and then that would be how much money I have in there. You can see right here, there it is, 1.193470. So we got that, and we contributed. We started off the 591,000, and we've reinvested 600,000. So that's my 591 is what I started with, and that's my whole portfolio, not just my UBI portfolio, but that was also my IRAs. And that's how we got to 1.9. But I've taken 100,000 out, so that's this number here, 1.193. So I know I broke $1 million, but I really already had way over $1 million. That's pretty good return on money, right? So gain on my whole portfolio is down 15. The yield is at 44. So my whole portfolio over the last, is this the last year? Oh, over the last 6 months has averaged about a 30% return. That's not bad. I mean, I want it to be a lot more, and that's why I rebalanced. So my rebalancing is, if I project what my rebalance is going to be, it's projecting out to be above 50%. If the market keeps going, we'll see. You know, I mean, if markets go down, you don't make money. But if it continues to do what it's been doing, which is going straight up, I will have over 50% with my rebalance. We'll see. I don't know. So I've received 451,000 in dividends, or 44% return. My trades are down 37. That's what that says in the last 6 months, but that's because of my rebalance. So that's not completely accurate. That's just the last 6 months where I did my rebalancing. And then we got return of cash and capital, 48 here, total dividends. There's my money right there. And in 6 months, I will be at break even again. So 451,000 is how much money I've made in the last 6 months. Return of cash, I don't think that's 6 months. I think that's my total account, 48% return. And then you can come down here and you can see this is all of my stocks. And it says in the last 6 months, I've made $302,000 right there. That's not bad. $300,000 in 6 months. I can live off that. And that's just this investment. I got others. Not bragging, but that's why I'm here, trying to show you what I do so you can do it too. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just showing you what I'm doing so that you can say, hey, I think that's a good idea. I'm going to do that too. Or you can say, that's too hard. I ain't doing that. You know, that's why I'm trying to get out of real estate. It's too hard. I ain't doing that anymore. Not when I can do this. So Snoy, let's see, does this have a, no, this is just the last 6 months. Snoy gave me in April $1,700, May $3,000, June $3,200, July $1,200, total of $9,000. Nvidia giving me $22,000. Tesla is giving me $46,000. Yes, Len, but how much did you put in to get that much money? Well, we have to go look and see. Bitto, $5,800. Misty, see, Misty's given me $80,000 in the last 6 months, and that's why I'm like frustrated with it. It's giving me a lot of money. I'm making money on Misty. Go see what it is. We'll go like this. See MSTY. This over the last year. Let's just go the last 6 months. See, the gain is 75% on Misty. It's gone up a little. I guess can't complain about that. It's better than I thought. The yield hasn't been that great, 21%, but it's given me gain plus yield. It's been 97%. That's pretty good return. I guess you can't complain about that. Oh, that's beady. No wonders I'm not complaining. MSTY. Here, you got to click on it. You can't just hit enter. All right. It's a website. So 45. Oh, there's why I'm complaining. Misty, down 45%. But look at the yield, 113% for a 68% return over the last year. I've had it for a year. That's why I'm crying the blues when I look right here. I'm like, oh my God, I'm losing money, 48% to 45% down. I can't stand it. But in the meantime, they've been giving me 113% return on my yield. So I'm like, okay, I can't complain too much because overall I'm getting a 68% return on my money. Now, we look at our little chart here. None of those have 68% return. Oh, we do. Beto. OARK is 37. Misty. Yep, Misty's the high one. Hoy, 53. Tesla, 42. Carvana, 37. Nvidia is 44. Snoy is 65. Palantir. Palantir. Let's go look at Palantir. Ulti is at 46. Coney is at 58. Let's go look at Palantir. It shows last time I recorded that, it was over 100%. Let's see what it is today. PLTY. So we got a 25% gain, and we got a yield of 79.52 for a gain plus yield of 104%. That's crazy money. That's crazy money, people. That's crazy money. So the question is, how do these companies do this? How do they return 104% return when the yield is 79% and where the gain is 25%? So it went up 25% in the last year. You're like, well, I bought it. I should have 25%, right? Well, no, because that's PLTR, not PLTY. PLTY only went up. PLTY went up 25%, but I think PLTR, Palantir itself, now it doesn't give dividends, so there's no yield, but it went up 300%. So if you held it for the last year, you'd be up 333%. Well, Lan, why did you do that? Why did you do PLTY then if you could have got 300% on PLTR? I didn't know it was going to go up 300%, or I would have. I didn't know. How did you know it was going to go up 300%? Oh, I knew because Jim Cramer said it was going to go up 300%. Okay. Well, this is why we buy a little bit of both, right? We have the one that's got the high yield, giving us some returns in case it doesn't go up 300%, but then we can buy some of this in case it does. If you read the article in Pitt News Magazine, once again, there's an article in there that I wrote just last week. Current version, go get it, read it. It says we should be doing both. So you put your money into PLTR or PLTY to get the dividends. So the dividends start, let's say you put 50 grand into PLTY. Now it's going to kick out about 5 grand a month, right? You take that 5 grand that's kicking out, and if you don't need to go spend it on buying toys and cars and food and travel, and you don't need it, well, then start buying PLTR with that dividends. It's almost like free money. So you're buying PLTR with free money. So free money's going into PLTR. And then if you lose it and it goes down, you don't feel so bad because it's just a consistent income coming in off of your yield, off of the PLTY. But then you're taking that free money, right? The interest that you've earned, the yield that you've earned, and you put it into PLTR. Now it could grow 300% if the market continues to grow 300%. Is the market going to grow 300% next year? If it is, you shouldn't be in PLTY. You should be in PLTR with 100. Just put everything into PLTR because it's going to go up 300% next year. But Lan, what if it doesn't go up 300% next year? Exactly my point. Why didn't you do it last year? I didn't know it was going to go up 300% last year. So when it said, well, you might get, PLTR, PLTY. So then you look at PLTY, and PLTY says that it's giving you a yield of 79%. And even if it went down to 50% on the yield, still, that's good money. It's hard to, it's what I call the 2 in the hand, 1 in the bush, right? 1 in the hand, 2 in the bush. The 1 in the hand is the yield. It's been producing this yield, this really high yield, a nice yield. But of course, the 79% yield comes because the market went up 300%. It's taking profits. This market here, PLTY, takes profits along the way. That's why you got a 79% yield. It's because the market went up so much they could take out that big yield. The market started going down. Well, they're still going to sell their options, but they're going to lose money on the gain. The gain's going to go down quite significantly. But the yield, well, it won't be nearly that much because a lot of that yield is growth. Not a lot of it, but a percentage of that is still growth. They do synthetic longs. And again, I taught you that in the Pitt News Magazine. So go read that article in Pitt News Magazine, and it'll show you how that all works out, how they make this, how they do it. We're having Aiden Gray write an article in Pitt News Magazine for next issue where we take that trade that we did on Bed Bath & Beyond. No, it's not Bed Bath & Beyond. It's BlackBerry. On BlackBerry, and we're going to detail it out, show you exactly how it worked. So you can see the difference between a synthetic long and a normal market shares. So how the synthetic long options work in comparison, and you can see the difference. All right. And that's what they do in these markets. They do this for you in case you don't want to be trading synthetic longs. You're like, I don't want to trade a synthetic long in options. That sounds hard. Okay, well, don't do it. Just give your money to Palantir. Just give your money to YieldMax, and they'll do it for you. And this is the kind of returns that they get when they trade those synthetic longs for you on your behalf. And they're trading Palantir. It's the only thing they're trading with this particular market. All right. So that's how it works. And that's how I'm doing it. And again, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just showing you what I'm doing. And then you guys can say, wow, that's pretty cool. I want to do that too. So you get to come and get this little portfolio matrix so you can see this stuff, because nobody else gives you this chart. If you go and look at your brokerage firm, the only chart they're giving you is the blue chart. So PLTY, the only thing they'll show you is this blue line. They won't show you the purple line at all. It doesn't even show up. There's no, you go out, show me a brokerage firm. Anybody. Show me a brokerage firm that shows you the reinvested drip dividend line. They don't. Nobody does. They just show you this line here. So when you go look at stocks, you're like, okay, well, I'm going to look at PLTR and what line they're going to show you. This is the line they show you. The gain, 300%. The yield, they don't show you that. They don't even show it to you. You'll get your dividends and they just stick it into the cash, but they don't show you the growth of the dividends. It'll show up in your balance if you get a dividend, but they don't show you how much you made. They don't track it. They don't do anything with it. They just throw it into the balance. And then the chart shows this. They'll show you this chart, the growth, the gain chart. And then your balance will be bigger than what you showed in the gain. You're like, why is the balance is bigger than my gain? That's really weird. Well, it's because you got dividends. But they don't show you that. They don't give you that information. That's why we had to create portfolio matrix, so you could see that. All right. Otherwise, why would we be wasting all our time, effort, energy, and money on portfolio matrix? It's because we're giving you information that your brokerage firm doesn't give you. I don't care which brokerage firm you're talking about. I've not seen it in any brokerage firm. No brokerage firm does what portfolio matrix gives you. And if you're a dividend trader, you got to have this information. Yeah, I would want it. I mean, how are you going to? It's flying blind if you don't. I don't know why you'd want to go do that. How can you even track your? You can't. If you just look at a normal broker, the thing is there's never been really a reason to, because all the other companies have just been dividends have never been worth a damn, worth tracking. 4%. That's one of the biggest ones in the entire industry, right? AT&T gives really good dividends, top 10, and it's 4.69%. So they're like, why bother? Why am I going to bother drawing a line for that? Why am I going to bother? Just throw it in the cash. It doesn't matter. 4%. They'll lose that in a day, and just the intrinsic value of the market moving up and down. So it's like they've never bothered tracking the dividends because they've been so small. It's like, why bother? But now when we have these yield max funds that have dividends, TSLY, dividends of 84%, suddenly they're worth tracking. Suddenly they're worth drawing a chart line for. Suddenly they're important. In fact, they're more important than the growth. The growth is down 30% over the last year on Tesla, but the dividend is 84% for a 53% return. Suddenly it's important. People are trading for yield instead of for gain. And so we need a different set of charts. That's why portfolio matrix. You need a separate set of charts, and you just can't get this anywhere else. So go subscribe to Portfolio Matrix. Just go to portfoliomatrix.com and sign up. And then you can have these charts so you can see the difference between yield and gain. But only if you're trading for dividends. You don't really need this if you're not trading for dividends. I mean, it's really cool for people who are not trading for dividends. It's still got a lot of really neat stuff that the brokerage firms don't give you, even if you're just trading for growth. And that's okay. But this is really cool for both. I mean, it's you know, I mean, the cool stuff is that it's got all this calculator stuff. That's what's cool. So I don't want my Roth IRA. Just barely opened it last week. It's got nothing in it. $8,000, $5,000. My traditional IRA. We'll look at that one. It's got all this targeting stuff. So even if you don't have dividends, this is worth every penny you pay for Portfolio Matrix just to get this calculator. In fact, when my son started writing this calculator, or writing portfolio matrix, this was the front page. This was the home page. This was everything. This was the whole reason he was writing it, is to get this targeter so that you could come in and you could rebalance your portfolio. So this was the whole reason for the whole program. And then you come over here and let's go apply that to my current portfolio. And then it tells you how much money you're supposed to be having in each one of those to achieve your goal over here of 74% return, gain plus yield. And then it will go through and figure that calculation out for you and tell you, oh, you want a 74.75% annualized return? Well, based on historical past, these are the ones, and these are the ones you want to invest in. Okay, this is how much money you should have in each one to make that happen. Beatty, you should have 222,000 out of your $1 million land. Hoy, you should have 208,000. Snoy, you should have 92,000. Nvidia, you should have 25,000. Tesla, 35,000. Beto, 146,000. See, if it takes those numbers and says, based on the past year's performance, because that's what we got in here is 1 year, you should put your money in like this, and then this would have achieved a 74% return. So going forward, that's probably going to be pretty close to what's going to give you the highest returns going forward. And we can rebalance every 3 months or every month if you want, or every week if you want. But what I do is I come in here and I say, okay, this is how I rebalanced my portfolio. So I told you I rebalanced it using this tool. And then I come over and I decide when I get new money, right? Every month I get about 50 grand. So I come over here and I put my 50,000 in and I say, I just got 50,000. Actually, I saved this target and then I come over here and I say, I got 50,000 and I calculate where I should put my money. And that's where it tells me to put my 50,000. It says, as of the information that we have and your portfolio, and you just got 50,000 more that you want to put in, here's where you should put it. I should put 21,000 in Beatty. I should put 5,000 in ARC. I should put 19,000 Hoy, 1,900 in Snoy, Bitto, 1,500. That will keep my ratios where they need to be to achieve my 74% return. It's so cool. All right. Then you don't have to do anything but just come in here and run your little math every time you get some money and you say, well, where should I put it to maintain that 74% return? Well, based on the history and what's going on and what the markets are currently doing, you want to come over here and this is where you should put it. Oh, that's great. Just tells me right where to put it to maintain those ratios. 74% return. That's pretty good for me. I'm happy with that. Could you get 300% if you just put it all in a Palantir? Last year you could have. Are you going to get that this year? I don't know. Okay, I'll do it this way then. It's up to you. All right, guys. I got some places to be and some people to see, so I got to let you go. It's been a fun day. Glad most of you stuck around with me today, and got some fun things for you here real quick. Just so you know, if you want a little bit of help, I'm here for you to help you. I can help you. And just go to landturner.com and sign up, and you can talk to me in person. I do a little bit of consulting just in case you want to ask me a question. Now, I'm not certified to help you trade your real money. I'm an educator, so I can ask you educational questions. So you can come and say, well, how do I do this or how do I do that? And I can show you. What should I do with my $50,000? I can't tell you that. I can show you what I would do if I had $50,000, which is this, you know. But what you should do with your $50,000, that's your decision. I can't make that decision for you. So I'm just a school teacher, just a little school teacher from Utah Tech University. Oh, and by the way, classes are getting ready to start down there in 2 weeks? Classes start at Utah Tech University in 2 weeks for my classes. So hopefully you guys that are in the local area down there will come and join me. Get yourself all signed up for those classes. Go over to so continuing education Utah Tech, UTAHTECH.com. I think that's what it is. Utah Tech. UTU. I can't remember. Let's go see. CE.Utah Tech. Yeah. UTAHTECH.edu. All right. And you can sign up for my classes right there at Utah Tech University. Okay. There it is. View the catalog. There we are. Come down to the bottom. Here's Land Turner. Stocks, day trading, stocks, options, stocks, market, stamp silver, stamp. We don't want the stamp silver. We want stocks. Stocks, stocks, stocks. There they are. There's the ones that are coming up. So that's the one you want. Come and join. Have fun. Sign up. Be there or be square. All right, guys. That's all I got for you today. We're going to let you go. If you have questions, let me know. You can go send them, make notes in the comment section, or you can send me an email. Just send me an email, land@landturner.com. That always works. Makes it easy for you to remember. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't yet, so you can get notified when we do new live sessions. And we will catch you tomorrow afternoon for day trading in the futures market, 1 o'clock, power hour. All right, see you then.
All right, that wraps it up for today. If you got something out of this, do me a favor. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone else who's trading or learning.
Hey, don't forget to tell them to subscribe to Pitt News Magazine.
Oh yeah, definitely subscribe to Pitt News Magazine. You'll thank us later.